this is my raspberry trellis here. We got 3 sets of wires, doubled up. This one's about 14 inches on the bottom. This is about 18 to 20 inches in the middle there, and maybe about 30 inches on the top gap between the wires. So I just used some natural twine there to tie up some of the ones, the vines that were flopping over or hanging in a weird direction, or just to space them out a little bit too. So we got a center one here, it's just kind of a pass through. And then down at this end, we got some tensioners on there. Keep it nice and tight. Not super tight, just taut enough to keep the vines intact there and keep them supported. So that is what, about a 10-foot pressure treated post and some pressure treated boards. At least that one is, that one's not, and that one is, so whatever I had available there. And then on this end, so I just kind of have it broke the wire here and hooked it on there, looped it in there and rolled it up, and then I just took a short piece of wire, wrapped it around here, wrapped it around itself, and then the same thing, made a loop, and then I stuffed the loop through the hole and stuck a nail up through there. So very quickly I can pull this, release the tension, pull the nail out, and then I can pull back on that wire and pull it away from, so if I want to get a bunch of vines on the outside, I can just pull it around and hook it underneath them all and just put it back in the hole there and tighten it back up and support all the vines that snuck out on the outside of the wire there. So these are just some bolts through. Better to do bolts than screws, because screws will pull out over the years where a bolt will not. It squeezes. It's got a nut on the other side there, so that's important. And the top here I just have an eye, so one bolt through and then a second one that is the eye bolt there, and that goes down to a cable. It's got a cable clamp there, and this goes all the way down to another tensioner, just kind of like I did the others. And then that goes down to a spiral eye hook that goes into the ground, a ground anchor. So that's how that's attached there. So the other side's the same way. And then stuck some plastic around the, it's about a foot or so at the soil level around the post to protect it from fungus eating away at it. So that'll hopefully extend the post for double the lifetime. So I may get 18 to 20 years out of these posts because of that. They normally, I think, are about 10 years lifespan. So anyway, that's how I did my raspberries. Seems to be working very well. And the Blackberry trellis is just a single set of wires. I think they're about a foot apart each one, starting about 2 feet off the ground. Punched a hole and wrapped it around the post, and these don't have tensioners except for the 2 up the top. I just pulled really hard and wrapped it around the post. That's sufficient enough. And this one, the post, I just had a shorter one, so I extended it with like 4 screws or something like that, long screws all the way through to hold the board up there to get my 9 feet or so, or I guess that's about 8 feet at the top there. So another wire up the top, and I stuck a tensioner on the second one from the top down, and then the next one. So those were I couldn't get those tight enough, and those are having a lot of weight on them, since those are the primary ones that the vines wrap themselves around. So these are the triple crown blackberries. So I thinned them out and took the tops and wound them around each You can see I wound them around here, wrapped them around to keep them close to the trellis here so you can walk through. So this way I'm not hanging out in the aisleway or flopping around. They're all secured. So that way I didn't have to tie them at all, just wrap them. And that works fine. They're very flexible. As long as you're a little bit careful with them, they do fine and don't have any trouble. And this way, this is just a pass through. Got a hole there. This is another 8-footer, which I think they're probably 2 feet in the ground. So this one's probably a 10-foot post, but it goes up 8 feet because I put it 2 feet in the ground. And this end, I just had a tree here, so I used the tree as my post. It's still alive, so I just wrapped the wire around the tree. So it's not doing long. This is a cast cara, not worth anything really. I just trimmed it up and so it's all just, it creates a little bit of shade, but I just keep trimming it back and probably do a little more trimming when it gets a little nicer out.